So as usual, the idea for today's video came from another video, yesterday's, and it came from the comments. I want to talk about the differences between an intern and a junior developer and what that means on your resume. It's always after the fact, I didn't really have a chance to explain myself what exactly I meant by that. Sometimes what I like to do is kind of like mix my pre-workout with stuff. Lemon lime diet Shasta. Who needs champagne when you could just have carbonated pre-workout? Alright, so the reason I think that you should take intern off your resume is because it's gonna harm you in negotiations. Now, everything is not as black and white as it may seem when it comes to applying to jobs. It really depends on the company. For larger companies, they hire interns. And when you're going to college, they hire interns. This is directed at those people that apply to internships even after they've finished boot camp, even after they've finished the college degree. So you see the thing with these companies that don't require internships but still offer internships, if you apply to them, you're kind of getting suckered, and in my opinion. Let me tell you about my mechanical engineering job. At my first mechanical engineering job, I was working with people that were more qualified than I was to do the job, but they were getting paid like 3 to 4 times less than I was. And I was like, why didn't you just apply to the regular job? These were people that had already graduated from college. They already had their bachelor's, they already had their master's degree, and they were being interned. But at my company, I saw it firsthand that the difference between me and some other guy, we both had the same skills. I just finished college, they just finished college. He was an intern, I wasn't. I was getting paid $72,000 a year, and this dude over here is getting paid like $18 an hour. Hi. Y'all ever get like distracted? You sit down to do something for a second, or you start to get ready for something, then all of a sudden you get distracted. I don't know about you guys, but I am particularly hyped for the new It Chapter 2 trailer. Like, just the creep factor in that movie without any of the jump scares is so good. Alright, just finished the workout. Got my deadlifts in, all kinds of deadlifts. We're hot in there, had to take the shirt off. Sorry about the douchebaggery. When you work an intern job, and you work, let's say over the summer for like 3 months, and you're just about to graduate, or you've already graduated, and then you hope at the end of the internship they give you that final job offer, I really doubt your skills have increased 4x, because that's what your pay is gonna do. The intern position for most companies, not these big huge companies that have like mandatory internships, not the companies that are hiring you while you're at college and it's part of your degree program and it's required. I'm talking about the companies that are just tiny little companies that don't wanna put entry level or junior level, they just wanna put intern because that's what they wanna pay you. And if you don't know any better, you'll apply to those. Just a way to pay you less money. What I think that everyone should do is put the title on the resume that reflects what you can do. And hear me out here, it's not as black and white as everyone thinks it is, and so you have to make some personal choices here. But let's say at my last job, I was a front-end developer. You know I was doing way more than front-end development. I was doing SQL, I was doing some business analyst stuff, pulling reports for customers, I was interacting with customers directly, I was redesigning some designs that I would hand off. So let's say I want to go apply to a new job, and the new job is full stack developer. Okay, well, what do? If you submit the resume that you currently have as a front-end developer to the full stack position, you hope that they open it. But more than likely, they'll just see, oh, front-end developer, why is he applying to full stack? You know? And they'll just toss it. Or do you change the title on your resume to reflect what you can do? I was a full stack developer. I was doing full stack stuff, so I'm gonna change it to full stack developer because that's what I was. And so the question becomes, well, if they background check you, you know, they're gonna see that you're lying and that's gonna make them not wanna hire you. Okay, so what you do is you get to the interview. That's the point. You have to have a conversation. This is all just a game to get to the interview. It's all about just making it to have that conversation, to have that sit down. So when you get to the interview, you're like, hey, look, my last job title was front-end developer, but it became something that was full stack, and this is what I did. So I put full stack on my resume. I hope that's not a problem to you. I'm willing to take whatever code tests you want to give me, but when you call my last company, they're just going to say I was a front-end developer, but go ahead and give me a code test that reflects these full stack abilities and I'll get them done for you. But you won't be able to say that when you just press apply on Indeed or Stack Overflow or whatever. So you have to get the interview and then explain everything. It's kind of like this moral gray area, right? Like if a job says in the application requirement of 3 years, but you read the rest of the job application and you're like, yeah, of course I can do this. This is like 3 years experience. Like what? No, I don't need 3 years experience to do this. I could do this right now. And so the only way that your application is going to get to the hiring manager or the person at the top is if you put, yes, I have 3 years. So the question becomes, do you check that box? Do you check the box and say, I have 3 years experience when you know that you don't, but you know that you can do the job? You know, that's what it all comes down to. You have to get to the interview so you can start that conversation. The whole point is to get to the conversation. Do what you can, do what you need to get to the interview, and then after that, explain yourself. I mean, that's my thoughts on like internships versus junior developers and why you should take that off, because they're just going to play that game with you. They're just going to give you lower pay. Someone sent me an article, a blog written by a CEO of a remote company. He says it for himself. He cares about what you can do for his company, how you can make his company more money. I mean, he's kind of full of himself. He's kind of an asshole, to be honest. Here, let me read it to you. Let me get home and I'll read it to you. I'm going to leave the doc up. I'm going to leave Choco Taco up. Try not to get distracted by the doc, but if you do get distracted by the doc, I do understand. Let me show you what this CEO said. I've read almost 800 applications across 3 positions. In the last month, I've interviewed 19 people on Skype. I'm exhausted. He has his own little remote company called Tortuga. Small company, gets flooded with applicants for remote positions because everyone wants to work in their underwear and make lots of money. So he says, I'm writing this article so that future applicants can put their best foot forward and not waste their time. The basics, make it easy for me. So that's what I always say in these resume reviews. If you make my job easier, I will like you more, because you gotta understand there's gonna be like a huge stack of resumes, a ginormous stack of resumes he's gonna go through. But he still has to run his company at the same time. They have to do their job and vet people to help so that they can hire someone to come help them do their job. It's going to help them all out. This is the part where he kind of sounds like a jerk. I, the hiring manager, am your audience. I care about my business. I do not care about you yet. You are a stranger taking up space in my inbox and time on my schedule. Tell me why you're worth. Appeal to my self-interest. So research the hiring manager or whoever you think is going to be the hiring manager. You know, what can you do for me? And that's what I say, bring value to the company. When you walk through that interview door, when you send that resume, when you send that cover letter, how are you going to bring that company dollar value right out the gate? Because that's what's really going to make you shine. I will hire you if you can grow my business or make my life easier. I will not hire you because it's your dream job. So I think this will shatter a lot of people's confidence here. I think this dude's just being a jerk. It really depends on the person. He's exhausted, obviously. There are some times where you could be like, this is my dream job, but here's why I want the job and here's how I think. He's just salty probably because he got a lot of resumes and cover letters that were like, working remote is my dream, and so he probably got tired of reading that and he's kind of being a jerk about it here. When you've read a few hundred cover letters in a row, the generic ones and the templates become obvious. If you're sending the same cover letter for every job, you have no shot. If you customize it by mentioning the company name, that's really not customization. And while I kind of agree with this, I think you should have different templates. You shouldn't just have one template for the cover letter. You should have different templates. A template for remote jobs, a template for big corporations, a template for startups. And then you have like little blocked out sections that you change so that it fits the company. Get the interview, not the job. Your application can only get you the interview, not the job. You will not get hired based solely on your application. Have you ever been hired without an interview? No. Assume you'll have another opportunity to share details about your work history. This brings me back to what I was saying earlier. You want to get the interview at all costs. Before they even spend money doing these background checks to verify whatever you put on your resume, they want to have a conversation with you. And so if you get to the conversation part, the interview part, and you're like, hey, look, this is what my previous job, but this is what I actually did. I'm sure you can understand you get hired for jobs and end up doing different responsibilities, but the company, what are the most important accomplishments that make you an obvious candidate for interview? Put those in your application, take everything else out. That's what I was saying. So pick your top 3 projects, make sure you have a demo of them hosted somewhere on Netlify, Heroku, GitHub Pages if it's just a static application. Pick your top 3. And if you have like a whole bunch, if you have like 12, 13, 14, 15 different projects, just pick your favorite 3 that are closest to what this company does. So if this company is all about using APIs and you have a couple projects using APIs, pick those projects using APIs. If you find a company that's all about design and you have some front-end projects that are really, you spend a lot of time in making sure they're responsive and using material design and whatever, all this modern stuff, share those. Right here he says, list accomplishments, not your tasks. In my opinion, I think you can list your tasks as long as you show the outcome of those things, which if you're a developer and you are tasked with making an application to make it easier for users to sign up, you could say, before I implemented my application, we were enrolling 250 people a day, and after I executed and implemented and coded and designed and whatever, blah, 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 the application, we are now getting 3,000 user signups per day. That shows a direct what you did, your task, and the outcome of it and how you improved and brought value to that company. Alright, so here's the part where he's kind of an asshole. Using the job as a learning experience. I feel like this position would be an incredible learning experience for me. Be careful using phrases like this, especially if you're applying to a small company. You know, enterprise rent a car as a training program. Small businesses do not. I cannot pay you to learn how to do the job. I hired you to do the job. Remote companies hire for impact, not for potential. Okay, so that's quite the claim there. This is complete bullshit. There are remote companies out there that are pretty large, like Envision is a good example of one. They're a pretty large remote only company, and they don't care. They'll train you. They'll let you learn. This guy's just salty because he just has a tiny little company and he doesn't want to spend his money training you. He just wants to hire you and get those bucks right out the gate, you know? And it's understandable, I guess, because it's his company. Companies hire junior devs based on potential. This guy's just salty because, for whatever reason. Pay for your own schooling and learn on someone else's dime and time, even your own. Okay, so this guy's starting to get a little belligerent here. There are a lot of companies out there that will actually give you unlimited Udemy courses, or they'll reimburse you for it if they ask. This guy just happens to be the owner. He's like, I'm not going to pay for my employees to further their education. Okay, that says a lot about what you think about your employees here. Like, if you don't want to help your employees continue their education and you don't want to help their employees like get better, your company is going to suffer for it. And so the fact that you can't hand out a little like $20 a month so that they can learn Udemy when they want, even if it's not on company time, that says a lot about what you value in education and how much more you value the profit margins of your company. Train your employees, as Richard Branson would say, right? You want to train your employees enough to where they can leave, but you want to treat them well enough to where they can't. This guy obviously has a problem for that. Tortuga, based on reading about Tortuga here, I think that's pretty lame, dude. You know, big companies are a great place to start your career and learn foundational skills. I did that at Google. Oh, all right. So we see why he's on his high horse now. A lot of us, we're not going to end up working at Google. We're not going to end up working at Netflix. We're not going to end up working at FANG companies. A lot of us are just going to end up working at the companies that are close to us because we can't relocate for whatever reason, or we have life circumstances that prevent us from doing that, or maybe we just don't want to work at a big company. This guy's like, go work at a big company and learn stuff, then come to my job and work for me. Of course, I hope that if you join Tortuga, you will take on new projects and learn new skills. I will happily pay for and support team members in upgrading and expanding their skills, but you just said pay for your own online courses, do it in your free time, not on my dime. So like, he realized this is what you're being right here, guy who wrote this post. Okay, so again, he's on his high horse. You cannot criticize what we're doing. That's being a jerk. Sorry, I didn't understand that your feelings were facts. I'm allowed to criticize the company, and if you're one of these people that's like, you can't criticize my company, that's bad. Obviously, you have problems with handling feedback, and that's really says a lot about you here. That's very subjective, right? You could criticize what the company is doing without trash talking them, but it's up to the person to decide, you know what, that's trash talking, or you know what, I understand that critical feedback. So this is kind of, this guy just seems to be on his high horse. I wrote this in hopes that hearing the truth from a CEO and occasional hiring manager will help you to land your next interview. Selfishly, I hope that this post will filter out weak applicants and help the best people to showcase how great they are. The bottom line is that your application must show focus on how you can help the company. Keep that in mind. You'll be in the top 1%. /end rant. You can learn more about working at Tortuga. Look, man, like after reading your what you think of applicants, I'm not sure I really want to work for you. I think I'd want to be treated as an equal. Obviously, I understand that you want applicants to make you money, but the way that you wrote this post just makes you seem like you're on a high horse, and if someone disagrees with you, you're just going to be like, that's trashing the company and I have a problem with that. I understand you're exhausted from looking through a bunch of applicants that wanted to work there, but maybe these applicants don't understand how to apply. So you should maybe give them the benefit of the doubt instead of just getting frustrated and mad about it, okay? Anyways, guys, that's my video for today. Hopefully there's been some value in here. Hopefully you didn't get too distracted by the doc, but I understand if you didn't hear anything I just said. If you're interested in seeing more of this content, maybe hit subscribe, maybe hit like. I would appreciate that, and I'll see you guys in the next one.